So, like I said, basically the first few sessions, we're just gonna go over kind of the basic stuff. Have you been doing crating with him?
Yeah, so we have a crate.
Okay.
He slept in the crate the first 2 nights, and then the third night, like, he started crying, and like it was every 30 minutes, and we were getting up and taking him out.
Okay.
And then he was just crying.
Do you use it with him during the day?
So I have not left him alone yet.
Okay.
Is that bad?
There definitely, we want to put an emphasis on giving him some time where he is alone, whether you're still home, and that means you just put him in the crate with the door closed for a little bit while you like take a shower, you know, do stuff, whatever. Just because what you experienced where, you know, that third night he's starting to whine and cry a little bit is a very natural like thing because he's so used to being with someone or something all the time that now we're having to create the separation. And at this age, it's really important to kind of allow him to go through those growing pains of figuring out how to be alone. So it's, like you said, nothing disastrous has happened with what you're doing with the overnight, but there's always the chance, you don't want to eat a clump of hair, sir. There's always the chance that, you know, he could pee on the floor while you're sleeping, he could chew something or eat something he's not supposed to, you know, all of those different options. So it generally is best practice to have the door closed on the crate, and then just get up with him on kind of a schedule throughout the night to give him potty breaks and then put it back in there. At this point, because he's so young, you're really benefiting off of like him still being in like what they call like the follow stage, which is where he doesn't really care to do anything other than just like be with you.
Yeah.
Give it like 2-3 weeks and he's gonna be chewing the corners of the cupboards and he's, you know what I mean? Like he'll be doing all that.
Already, he lays down at my feet and then he rolls up and he's like, oh, there's a cabinet here, let me chew on it.
Yes, yeah.
And he wants to chew on the pillows and he wants to chew on the corner of the couch and he wants to like dig out the carpet. And I'm like, he's gonna shred everything. And then I'm like, I'm just gonna put stuff in front of him I don't like because I'm gonna get new ones.
But so all of that being said, while he's seemingly doing okay with some of those things right now, this is also the best age to start creating the patterns and the habits that you're gonna need to avoid him being a little menace and nuisance as he gets into his adolescent stage. So we'll go over some crating drills and stuff like that and some solutions for if he gets really whiny in there and barky. When you say that he was like fussy, was he barking, whining, like
crying.
Just like a little whine, whimper, cry?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so like when I got up to pick him up to take him out, he just immediately collapsed in my arms. Like, I just want to sleep. Like, but, hi, thanks for, you know, nice to see you.
He said, haha, it worked.
Yeah, and so that's when I realized, I'm like, he doesn't have to go to the bathroom. I took him out there and he just sat there and looked at me like, I don't have to go.
Sure.
So that's when I laid back down on the couch and I was like, he's just, Dave needs to sleep and.
Yeah, you just wanted to snuggle.
Yeah, and I realized when he did it, I was like, I just got played, but.
Yeah, so usually like my foolproof like best practice for crating and potty training and the overnight stuff is, and I actually have like a schedule, like a mock schedule I've made actually that I can email to you after today that will give you kind of a run through of like your day usually. Of when to have him crated and such. But with the overnight stuff, I find that like the goal with crating is to have a schedule in which he never gets to tell you he needs something. And that's really kind of the whole goal with a puppy in general, is that we want to have their schedule so proactively planned that they don't have to create demanding behaviors to get what they need from us, because it's a slippery slope. You know, initially he'll whine because he really does have to go to the bathroom or he needs water or he's hungry or whatever. But then once he realizes that that behavior gets something from you or gets attention or things like that, then what's gonna happen is he's gonna do that all the time for nothing.
Right.
And Aussies, they're like the number 1 culprit of that. They're very, very, very demanding dogs at times, and they love to bark and, you know, get what they want. So it'll be good to set them up from a very young age that you're not a vending machine, you know what I mean? Where he can just like pull a lever and get something. So all of that to say, having kind of a nice structured routine for him will really help, because say you put him in the crate and he starts whining. You can be like, I've fed you, I've given you water, you've gone to the bathroom, we've played, we've done stuff. I know that your whining is just basically like little puppy temper tantrum, and I can ignore it with confidence, knowing that you don't actually need something from me. So that's the benefit of doing the schedule. And for the overnight stuff, similarly, so my most recent puppy that I raised was a Chihuahua of my own. And what I did for him was overnight when he was in his crate, I would set an alarm. He had to go out probably far more than this guy would. You could probably get away with like one potty break in the middle of the night for him. Yeah. You want to set your alarm to where it's like right before he would need it, so that when you wake up to let him out, he doesn't actually like need to go yet, to the extent that he's awake and whining and alert. And then even if he's still sleeping in the crate, you get him out, you wake him up, you take him outside, he goes to the bathroom, you bring him in, put him in, go back to sleep. And what you did was you got his needs taken care of, but without him having to tell you that he needed something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And that will make it a lot easier to where you have a dog that's calm in the crate and isn't used to fussing and making noise and stuff like that. Yeah. And again, like they said, the benefit, and I think you know this as well, to working on him being comfortable in the crate with the door closed is just, one, it'll be safer for him as he gets older, and then two, it does help him develop the independence and the ability to just like do his own thing, be alone. Another key that you can do you have at home like a 6-foot like solid leash or anything? Okay. What I was getting at is like with the harness and stuff, I'm totally fine with using harnesses with puppies at this young age. As he gets older, we'll transition to using stuff on his neck for certain periods while we're training. But in the meantime, you can use this. And with his solid leash, something that's nice to be able to do is to just hook that on him and let him drag it around when he's with you. Yeah, so he's used to it, and so you have something easily accessible to grab, because even like as an example, when he was wandering around here earlier and we didn't have a leash on him, my only way of getting control over him was to actually physically like grab him. And to do that every once in a while, it isn't a big deal, but that can cause a lot of frustration long-term for a dog, because you're creating a lot of physical conflict when you're trying to redirect them. So what can happen is, like, say he's getting into something or he's chewing the carpet and I keep going up and grabbing him, what that easily could turn into is then he's whipping around and he's mouthing at my hand because he's like, hey, stop it, and I'm right there. Versus something as simple as if we have a little leash on him, I'm able to just, you know, pull him away from whatever he's doing, and that's a little bit more effective. And even so, like when you get this is the typical, I assume what you see too, where the backing up and stuff. The biggest key to this is that you just don't want to yield to that and let him do that. So if anything, I'm just staying put, and I'm basically getting him to understand that if you want to alleviate the pressure of something pulling on you, the only way to do that is to yield to it rather than fight against it. Whereas if when he's pulling like that, we say, okay, and we let him go or we drop the leash, then he learns that that is the appropriate way to deal with leash pressure, which is what we don't want right now. Good job.
You know, he hears something and he runs away, and I'm like, well, you didn't eat it.
Yes. Well, and that's where having him on the leash and making it like a more structured thing really comes in handy. So you have him on your leash, you put his food down, and then you just stand there with him and wait and let him eat, and whatever he doesn't eat, you know, then you just put away. Okay. And another kind of overarching, like I mentioned earlier, the having a routine so that, you know, he's never having to demand things from you. And then another concept I try to focus on is I almost think of the crate for the dog as, when they're puppies, as like the default setting for them. And then if they're not in the crate, then there has to be a really good reason. So for instance, a really good reason would be he's eating, We're doing a little training session, we're going on a walk, we're playing, we're going outside to go to the bathroom, we're doing like intentional sessions of like settling and hanging out with the family while we do activities, things like that. But if your attention isn't specifically on him when he's not in the crate, then he just shouldn't be out, is kind of a rule of thumb I go by. So he doesn't need to be out with you while you're doing the dishes, or while you're running up and down the stairs doing laundry, or while you have guests over that you're entertaining for dinner, or X, Y, and Z. If he's not the focal point, then he doesn't need to be involved right now.
As a puppy or?
As a puppy. As a puppy. Because the reason why I kind of follow that philosophy as a puppy until he's matured is that we want to make sure that we're raising him in a way that there's very little room for him to entertain bad habits. And so if your attention is elsewhere and he's chewing on the carpet and you don't notice until it's already happened, it's really hard to be able to address that effectively. So instead, while he's learning the boundaries and the parameters and kind of figuring out life straight out of the womb, we're really heavily curating like what he's allowed to do. And then as he gets older and we have more training on him, he understands boundaries, he's not really in that developmental stage where he's like putting his mouth on anything and everything, then he can slowly get more freedom because we're not worried about him entertaining all those bad habits, essentially.
We've been watching him do, like,
yes.
Sleeps.
And that's why, if he's just gonna sleep anyways, why not have him do him in the crate? You know what I mean? That's kind of the benefit of it, is that at this age, he is so tired. It's so easy to tire him out. It's that much easier to make the crate a place where he understands that it's about resting. And because it's such a valuable skill. I mean, as he's growing and you need to go on trips, you guys go on a vacation, he might need to board somewhere. At the vet, he'll need to be in a crate. And so all of those places are already going to be a little bit stressful anyways. It's at least good that he understands the crate isn't really a stressful place.
Okay.
So it's definitely good to work on that a little bit. As far as like the whining and fussing in the kennel, I found that if you're pretty good about putting him in the crate for portions during the day, like we were just talking about, if it's just whining, I tend to just ignore it and it usually dissipates on its own. The only time I'll address behavior in the crate is if it escalates to where it's like very incessant barking. He's biting at the crate or he's pawing at it or he's like really having a hard time. But if it's like sporadic barking, whining, sad dog stuff, I tend to just let it go. And ignoring it is your best bet. If, for instance, say he were to start barking in the crate or anything, I usually play, like I call it like a door game, where the goal of it is that it basically breaks the concentration of the dog and what they're doing. So I'll show you what that looks like. We'll pretend there's a dog in here. But like say he's in here and he's barking. I'm not gonna say anything or to acknowledge him or anything like that, but I'm gonna come over here and I'm gonna start to open the door. And most likely, if he's frustrated and wants to get out, as soon as I start to open the door, he's gonna try to rush out, and then we're gonna close the door on him. And then I'm gonna start to open it again, and then we're gonna close the door on him. And we're gonna do that as many times as it takes until the door can be open and he's waiting in there. Because him waiting in there politely with the door open and him freaking out and barking are incompatible. He won't be able to do both. So by the time we get to this point and he's now calm in there, then we close our door and we walk away and we carry on with whatever we were doing. And what we've done is we've just interrupted it basically. And then if he were to eventually work himself up again to the same thing, we would just do the same process. And I've never had that not work. So that is a really, really good option. But like I said, if it's just basic whining, I wouldn't do that. I'm only gonna do that if it's like full meltdown.
He's hysterical.
Exactly, like he just cannot be consoled. Everything is terrible. That's generally what I would do. And then as far as him going in the crate, I know you said that he's been pretty good about just walking in there even on his own when he's comfortable. If you were to say he needed to go into the crate, If you guide him over, will he walk in, or are you having to like pick him up and put him in, or he just walks in? Come here, sir. Wake up. Rise and shine. The potato. Oh, you got it right. Come on, there you go. Here we go. Come on, Bubba's. Oh, your legs, they gotta work. Oh, I know, such a sad boy. And so this is where what I was talking about is we just wait. And so he's gonna be fine. This is all good stuff for him to figure out. Oh, I know you were napping. I'm so sorry. So sorry to wake you up. Come here. What do you think about this? What do you think? Do you like little snacks? Are you interested? The cutest little crunches.
Do you want me to bring snacks next time?
Yeah, if you don't mind. You can even bring, like, if you want to bring his kibble, that's fine. A lot of times if you start them really young on using their kibble for treats, then you don't have to use a lot of the crazy fancy stuff. Or if he has snacks he really likes, Cheerios, honestly, a lot of times are great for little puppies like this. What do you think, sir? Do you want to go get it? He's contemplating life right now. He's having a little existential crisis. I think you can do it. Look, 1 foot. Wow. 2 foots. Oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh, wow. What a cute little baby guy. Very nice. Come here. Come on. He said, maybe I'll just nap in here now.
He's like, I'm already in here. This is what you wanted me to do.
I know, he's like, I love it. No, and this is why capitalizing on this when you can is gonna be so important. Good job, sir. Come here. Look, we have another snack. Come on. Let's go. I know, your little brain is so sleepy. Can you take a big step? Big step. You can do it. I believe in you. Oh, big step. Big step. Oh, you got it, buddy. You got it. You got it. Yay! That was so nice. So nice. You want to try again? Big step. You did it before. You got it. Oh, good job. That's so impressive. What are you going to do now? You got it. Oh, there he goes. Nice work.
He said, no, I'm just going to go here and lay down and go to sleep.
Right? He said good night. So now, let's give this a go. Let's see what we do. So we only want to close the door on the crate if he wasn't actively trying to get out. So say you're putting him in, and I would recommend, if you're able to put a little leash on him from now on, and you can use treats like I was and guide him into the crate. So he's walking in on his own when you need him to. Because again, if we go by the schedule I'll send you, you're gonna be crating him a lot more. So he's gonna be going in and out on specific times. And say you're guiding him in, and he turns around and he wants to jump right back out. We're just gonna keep guiding him back in until he's content to wait in there. Yes. until we're content to wait in there, because by him physically trying to fight us to get out, that 100% tells us he is mentally not ready for that door to be closed. And if we close the door, meltdown. So if we get him to where he is physically comfortable in there, and then I close, his little tuft of hair is sticking out the hole over here. If I get him to where he's physically content in there before I close the door, then we're more likely to get a calm puppy, because he was mentally ready to be separated from you, essentially. And then whether, say you put him in there and he just maybe whimpers every once in a while, but overall he does really well, and you're like, okay, now it's time for him to eat lunch or something, you're gonna come back over and we're gonna do our door game again, where just for general exiting of the crate, we want him still being nice and polite in there and waiting. So if he's doing that, fantastic. And then we could get his leash hooked back up, because again, if he's not in the crate, then he has a leash on. Those are the rules. Okay. And then we could have him come out. Let's go, buddy. Good job, right? Oh my goodness. So this can also help, obviously, with him understanding the leash. So once he yields to this, right? Come on. Oh wow, there's a snack at the end. Isn't that exciting? And then we'll walk a little bit more. Oh, beautiful. So not only is he learning that the pressure goes away if he walks towards it, but he also gets a snack. Same thing. Oh, good job. Yeah. Not so bad. So this can really help with his leash walking. Good boy. Very nice. Let's try the crate again. He loves these.
Yeah.
They smell like fish food, so that's probably why.
And he doesn't care for the treats at home that much, so.
Really? Well, he likes salmon, so.
I made him some salmon the other night, so that might be.
He said, "Ooh, this is familiar."
Yeah.
Good job, buddy. Boy. Okay. Come on out. Oh, nice work. At this age, there's really no such thing as using like too many treats, as long as you're using them at the right times.
Okay.
So obviously, we need to be mindful of what did he do right before I gave him the treat, and was that something I want to reward? That's really what you just have to keep in mind. So if he jumps on you and then you give him a treat, you told him good jumping. If he nips at your hand, if he was eating carpet and you give him a treat, you know, all of those different things it's good to be mindful of. But he's doing a great job following me around right now and responding to some of that leash pressure instead of fighting it. So these are all good things to reward. Get your little brain working.
Well, he seems to be waking up.
Yes, he's caught a second wind, I think. Yeah. And then we'll go back to the crate here.
He's like, there's some treat on the other side.
I know, he's like, hold on. And this is where we just stand our ground. Perfect. I'll give him a little snack for that. Even though we didn't get that last foot. There we go. As he goes through all the sessions, and we start working a lot more on overall obedience and stuff like that too, okay is going to be kind of your general release word. So we can start kind of mixing that into what we're doing, where before I guide him out of the crate, I'm releasing him with the okay. Oh, you are ravenous for these salmon treats, huh? We found something that you seem to like. There you go. Follow it right in. Good.
Quicker.
Mm-hmm. And now I'm switching to where, okay, I'm just giving him the treat once he's already completed the task. So instead of giving it to him for the little bits of effort along the way, I'm just using it to lure him in, but he doesn't get to have it until all 4 feet are in there. Good boy. Okay. Want to give it a shot? Here's one of those. Put it right in front of his nose. And honestly, I can just take this off. That'll be easier. Yes, it really does. Oh, your mommy has the snacks now.
I got the snack right there. You see it?
There he goes.
Go ahead.
Perfect.
Okay, there. You don't even want it.
He's not the best at identifying with his nose yet.
Does not.
He'll get there. Very good. Just another treat.
Oh.
Very nice. Very, very good.
Can that go?
Perfect. So with the crate, you can just do little drills like that.
Yeah.
That'll help. Yes, that'll help with, like I said, the stuff we do is really gonna, these first few weeks is really gonna lean more heavy on the routine, the management, that kind of stuff. Confidence building, setting you up for success like socially with him, all of that good stuff, because that stuff you can't turn back the clock on and redo once they hit a certain age.
Right.
Obedience, you can train whatever, you know, and that's not to say that I'm gonna leave you with a, you know, horrendously untrained obedience dog for a long time, but we are gonna focus more on like these types of things and then work up to it for sure. But yeah, so I would work on that with the crate and then implementing him staying in the crate with the door closed for those portions during the day and then overnight if you can. And is his crate in your guys' room?
Yeah.
Is that where it is?
Yeah.
Okay. There's nothing wrong with that because I mean during the day when you're out doing other stuff, he's gonna be separated from you in the bedroom then.
Is that better or worse?
We want him to where he can't visually see you necessarily all the time.
That works.
Yeah, so that works just fine. And overnight, that should be fine. And just close the door, obviously, when you're sleeping.
So what is the best way with the biting to redirect him with the biting? Or
So you might be surprised. Most of my clients have told me that once they start living by the like concept of the crate is the default and then he's only out when we're doing things with him, that like 95% of your nuisance biting goes away.
Oh, all right.
Because you're actively engaged in working with him. So because most of the time the biting is like a way to get attention. And he's only wanting your attention because you're not paying attention to him because you're doing something else. And so when he's out of the crate, it's with the intention of I'm doing something with Rye, likely you're not really gonna have that much of an issue. When we meet again, our next session should be in about 2 weeks.
Yeah.
We're gonna really focus on the handling drills. So we're gonna go over grooming. We're gonna go over a snout to tail where you get him comfortable with you looking in his ears and his mouth and touching his toes and all of that kind of stuff. And when we do that, we'll talk more heavily about like the nipping and the biting and how to address it because it tends to come up during that process because they get fussy about it because they want to do other things. So we'll really talk more about that in the next session.
Okay.
So this week it's really just, you'll find that most of the biting diminishes when you follow the schedule. And then the little bits of biting that happens on you, key points to remember are not to make it a game. So the way that it becomes a game to him is that he, say he nips at your hand and you pull your hand away real quick, or a lot of people will say even to like squeal really loud because it knows that they know it hurts you. All of that stuff is just gonna make him more amped up to play. So if he starts nipping at you, you almost wanna like play dead and give him no response whatsoever, and then grab a toy and just give him a toy.
Okay.
Because if our hand is animated, then he's going to be animated. Okay. If he bites it and nothing happens, like earlier he was chewing on my finger and I just ignored him and he stopped. So once the game isn't fun for him, then they usually move on to something else. So when you grab a toy, then you can make the toy really fun and exciting and move it around, and then he'll want to chew on that.
When he's being destructive on stuff,
yes,
it won't come up because he'll be in his crate.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep, he won't be able to be destructive because he'll be in his crate, or you'll be actively with him with the leash on to where you can pull him away from it.
Okay.
And not let him do it, you know?
Okay.